So this is a hard video for me to make. I feel like I'm at a point where I have no desire to play 22. There are times where I enjoy it. I do get fun out of the game. But the irritations and frustrations are mounting, and I've noticed a huge uptick in crashes for me, by the way. My game's crashing all the time, which is obviously a major turnoff. And I don't know if I'm seeing more bugs, like somehow the game has actually gotten buggier, or if they've always just kind of been there and have just started to build up and they're starting to eat away at me more, and I'm just noticing them more, right? I don't know what it is, but I just have no desire to play this game, and I'm not going to, because, well, truthfully, they don't deserve my time. It's not in an acceptable state, and something clicked with me the other day, and I really have never thought about it like this, and I wanted to share this with the community to see if you guys have ever had this perspective. But I've been creating content and playing Battlefield basically since Battlefield 3. I started making content back then, and I want to run down a timeline with. During that game, it had its various issues, balance, and problems. I'm not going to throw that out there. What I do remember is, I think, roughly it was around a year, wasn't it? Where we had, like, an unplayable meta. Like, it was just not acceptable for a consumer to have to endure. Where we had, like, 6 months or something, we had to wait for USAS frag rounds to be patched. That just corrupted the whole experience. Same thing, right after that was fixed with the M26 mass underbarrel, which, again, sniped people, and it made the whole experience terrible. And to me, that was like a year of Battlefield 3 that was just torture. It was not okay, it was not acceptable, and I felt like I lost a year of content creation and just enjoyment out of the game, because I just couldn't play or I was going to get destroyed by things broken. So that's not acceptable. We fast forward, and the very next title is Battlefield 4. Obviously has a reputation, and though it was manageable and it was turned around and repaired, the damage had been done and it took way too long to do that. So yes, they mended the game, and it turned out to be arguably the best Battlefield game in the franchise, but so many people had moved on by the time they got to that state that most people never even really got to enjoy it, and it wasn't really achieved in its prime. So Battlefield 4 went on for about a year and a half, 2 years until it was fixed. So if you're with me right now, we're at about 2.5 years that I have been, out of my 10 years of playing Battlefield, that it was not in an acceptable state. Enter Hardline and BF1. I love the games. I know not everybody agrees with me. They might not have been your direction or your flavor, but what you can't argue is the quality that they had. They were well-built games. They didn't have terrible launches. There weren't a lot of bugs. Again, they had good turnaround times. So it may not have been your cup of tea, but they were good built games. And that honestly are probably the only two that I can say that about in the franchise since I've been playing. And they were back-to-back, which was wonderful. Skip on to BF5, and though the Pacific had a little bit of redemption for it, Battlefield 5 I don't think ever fully recovered. From the beginning, it was definitely launched premature. We had visibility bugs, audio bugs, registration bugs, random recoil. There were just so many issues with that game, and I never truly believed that it was a worthy purchase. I never thought that, hey, this is a good product for a consumer. So in my opinion, that was 3 years wasted. And here we are with 2042, probably another year until it gets in an acceptable state, if they don't just drop it all together, which is what I think they should do, and move on to a traditional Battlefield, because I just don't think this thing is going to be salvaged. And if so, it's going to be in the same kind of time frame that Battlefield 4 went through. And by then, people have moved on, something else has happened, and then, I mean, there's still going to be a lot of the community that's not going to accept the direction change with specialists and so on and so forth. So I don't even think it's worth fixing, honestly. I do believe that if my math serves correct, we are over 5 years. Out of the decade that I have played, over 5 years of it has been really rough experiences. That's a lot of money, a lot of time that a game has effectively been broken. And as much as I want to go and say, hey, it's okay, they can turn it around, they can do these things, that's just being silly about it. That's just ignoring the obvious details. And now the just non-negotiable history that I've presented to you. So you can say what you want about the game. You can love the game, because I understand your passion, your love, and the potential you can see for this franchise. But history and patterns have proven that they launch games broken. Hell, didn't they just go on the record to say, if I know one thing about this team is they can turn a broken game around, they've done it before. But all I read out of that was an admission that if you're used to fixing broken games, then that means you're used to making broken games. Like, indirectly, you have just basically admitted you make bad games. And then you spend the remaining period where you're supposed to improve them, just fixing them instead of making them better. And that is the standard that they've come to accept, and they know the community has accepted it, and we've enabled it. And here we are with 2042, a disaster launch. Though it had potential, it'll never fully realize it. And now they're stuck in a position. Do we ice this thing? Do we put it on the ice for 5 years and relaunch it in the future? Do they discontinue 2042? I know there's people in Australia and other countries that have protections for consumers that have already been getting refunds even months later. I just, as a creator, as a fan of the franchise, I am defeated. Because as a consumer, I'm like, if I buy something and it only works half of the time, especially over a 10-year period, then I am stupid if I keep buying that game. Like, why should I ever buy another Battlefield game? And I feel like I've been put into a corner where I had to do this early on with Call of Duty. After Black Ops 2, Call of Duty never really stayed with its direction or the standards that they built, like around BO2, which is arguably one of their best Call of Duty titles. And I haven't bought a Call of Duty since then. It's just like, I've not really vibed with any of them because they changed course so heavily and evolved into something, and it's just unrecognizable to me. And then their standards have dropped too. They are buggy launches after buggy launches, despite having ample time to develop a game, which they have historically, back in the day, been really good at. So, I feel like Battlefield's going through that phase right now, where they are trying to change their complete direction and push out the old school community so that they can attract the new generation, the new crowd. And man, I don't know what to feel. I'm uncertain and wavering about my entire support of the franchise. And as a fan, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to play 2042 until they fix it. But I'm a gamer. I'm going to play a game if they make a good game. But I am no longer going to pre-order a Battlefield title. I am no longer going to play a Battlefield title on launch. I am going to wait a month or two, see how it's received, and use the community as a compass to guide me to where I need to be. Because, like I said, 5 years of this, over 5 years, because 2042 is still going on. So when I break this down, it's going to be like 7 of 12 years when this is finally at its end and the next title comes out. That is just a really bad track record, and I refuse to enable this behavior and be a part of a system that allows them to prey on their community like this. And I don't blame the devs for this. I blame management. I blame the people making the decisions, and they are tanking this franchise. And I don't know if they're going to try to put out a Battlefield Bad Company 3 as their trump card and try to save face or milk it one last time. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm worried. I love the franchise. When it works well, oh my goodness, it gives me so many good memories and so much more enjoyment. But here we are with a dead game, people going back to classics from 7 years ago. We deserve better. We do. We deserve refunds. We deserve respect. We deserve transparency and understanding. And to me, I feel like if I went to a restaurant and I ordered a meal and my food didn't come out like I asked for it, and then, you know, they just left it on the table and said nothing for 2 hours, they come back and grab the plate and disappear again for an unknown amount of time. Like, would you be okay with that? Would you leave? Would you pay? It's just a really weird system, and I completely consider all of this unprofessional. So no part of this am I happy with or confident with. I've lost all trust with the team to develop a good Battlefield title and even recover when they screw up. So that is what I feel. 2042 content is going to be slim moving on out. I might even go back to make old Battlefield 4, maybe some aggressive recons or something. But my future direction with this channel is unknown. I really would appreciate you guys to consider staying subscribed, because when and if it does turn around, I will do that. But in the meantime, I'm going to find another direction, another game to cover, just so I can scratch my creative itch and still create content and try to have fun, probably on Destiny, which I'm currently back on, and I'm enjoying, given the space and climate of FPS right now. There's not many great titles, and Destiny 2 is coming out with an expansion, and honestly is doing really well. So expect some of that content in the future. Either way, thank you for everybody that is supporting this Battlefield experience. I really built this channel, and I was really going all in on 2042 being successful. I had faith in them, and There was a lot of late nights and a lot of wasted time on something that died 2 weeks after its birth, but it is what it is. So thanks again for your support. If you remain here, I appreciate you. Feel free to swing by a live stream sometime if you want to hang out with us, interact directly, and play some Destiny. But other than that, guys, have fun out there. If you're still enjoying the game, knock it out. But be aware of these patterns. Be aware of what they're doing. And just keep that in the back of your mind. Thanks again, everybody. Love you all. Have a wonderful evening. And I'll catch you with another video soon.